Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Well, the Convoy saga is back with a vengeance where DAT just dropped $250 million to acquire Convoy. But carriers are not exactly popping the champagne. After Convoy's spectacular crash and burn, of course, trust is in short supply. So let's go ahead and unpack Convoy's messy history, what this DAT deal means for booking those spot market loads, and why carriers are side-eyeing the whole thing. Ready? Let's go. Now, before we dive into the video, I just want to make a quick announcement. I have created a Discord server, which anyone can join, where we can keep the conversation going. It has a live text channel where you can text in real time. Don't text and drive. It has a forum, and it will eventually have a voice channel. So if you're interested, feel free to join using the link down in the description bar. All right, first a quick rewind on Convoy's story because context is everything. Convoy started out as the darling of digital freight, where it made really booking loads much easier. And carriers, especially in 2019, 2020, 2021, they were talking about how Convoy is so fantastic. I was one of those carriers. I absolutely loved using Convoy. It was easier to book loads. Plus, the prices that you could negotiate with the computer were a little bit higher than what the load board loads paid. By 2022, they hit a valuation of $3.8 billion, making them look completely untouchable. But then boom, October 18th, 2023, Convoy all of a sudden cancels all shipments. And the next day, October 19th of 2023, they shut down completely and they laid off most of their team, most without severance. And carriers who were either on loads or were waiting to get paid for loads that they had just completed, they were left high and dry. Convoy was not just a platform, it was something that a lot of carriers relied on for steady work as well as their fast payments, right? Convoy paid pretty fast, which made it possible for carriers not to pay that extra percentage to factoring. And there were, unfortunately, quite a few carriers who were completely basing their business on doing the loads for or hauling the loads for Convoy. Basically, the majority of their loads came from Convoy. Bad move. Never put all your eggs in one basket. Now, Flexport came in pretty quickly. Convoy shut down on October 19th. On November 1st, Flexport already acquired Convoy for something like $12 million. And the reason they did that is Flexport decided that this is the best way to provide end-to-end supply chain solutions. Now, that all sounds nice, but the carriers who were affected were too busy counting their losses to care. Convoy's collapse left carriers owed $3 million collectively. This is a prime example, again, of someone fucks up and the trucker pays for it. So, of course, lawsuits started flying everywhere, and one of the lawsuits funneled most of the money to Hercules Capital, and this is the venture firm that basically yanked Convoy's plug. And funny thing is, considering Flexport acquired Convoy, a lot of these carriers were reaching out to Flexport about how the heck do we get paid? And Flexport was consistently directing them to Hercules Capital. We'll talk about that more in a minute. There is a second major lawsuit where 429 carriers as well as factoring companies are involved, and they're chasing about $2.6 million collectively. But that lawsuit is still dragging on. Now, Bill Driegert, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, he's the former head of trucking at Flexport. He stated that he is not aware of any carriers who were left unpaid by Hercules. But considering that second lawsuit that is still dragging on, where there are collectively 429 carriers as well as factoring companies, clearly some carriers did not get paid. Realistically, hundreds are still fighting, and actually one owner-operator said that he's out $30,000 with no payment in sight. Now let's go back to Hercules. Those that did get some sort of payment, how much did they get paid? Well, it was often less than 30% of their invoice. So imagine you have $10,000 outstanding, right? This is what Convoy owed you, and in the best case scenario, you get $3,000. That's not just betrayal, that's that's a slap in the face. Carriers really trusted the Convoy app, not just because of how it looked and how easy it made it to book loads, but also because of their fast payment. But what ended up happening is just a disaster. And carriers have something to say about it, right? One guy said that Convoy sold us the future of freight, then left us with nothing but excuses. And then another guy said Convoy took our trust and our money. Why should we believe they won't screw us again? And here's a quote for you. The mistrust isn't just about unpaid invoices. It's the sense that Convoy's collapse exposed how vulnerable carriers are to tech-driven disruptors who prioritize investors over the folks hauling the freight. Now let's fast forward to DAT's acquisition of Convoy for $250 million. Now, DAT claims that this is a great way to boost their load matching network with Convoy's tech. Now, DAT president and CEO Jeff Clements said that carriers using the DAT platform to book their loads, they actually will not see any immediate changes. But on the Convoy app, carriers might see a little bit more loads as DAT integrates the tech. Brokers, on the other hand, get Convoy's automated freight transactions as well as lightweight vetting. Now, Convoy's carrier vetting system is not planning to do inspection history or ELD integrations to vet the carriers that use the platform. No, instead, they're using secret sauce forensics in order to determine whether a carrier is safe or not. But they are not revealing what that secret sauce includes. Over the next 2 years, DAT is planning to merge the two platforms, and carriers will eventually start seeing more of Convoy's automated loads and will start having to negotiate with algorithms. So what does this mean for carriers? On one hand, the one theme that everyone talks about is there are going to be more loads. You know, Convoy, DAT together, there are going to be more loads, and that could definitely be a lifeline for especially small carriers who are in an area where there is not a lot of volume. Another thing that people are talking about is the fact that DAT is planning to seriously vet the brokers who are using the Convoy app, which means, it's a good thing for carriers, right? It means that carriers are no longer to be afraid of who they're working with because technically that broker should have been vetted. Now, there is a thing that's not great about this integration, and that's the fact that Convoy's automated system could push rates down, right? Because it is designed to optimize for cost, not for carrier profit. One thing we have to understand is with these AI negotiations, yes, on one hand, it is much easier for some people because you don't have to actually speak to a person. You do everything online. You put a bid in the system and see if they come back with a different price or if they accept it. However, something important to remember is on the back end of the online bidding apps, there is a maximum, right? There is a range that is put in. And if you bid over that maximum, you're automatically or semi-automatically rejected. But now in terms of skepticism, it's deafening. Carriers aren't just cautious, they're completely distrustful. What are they saying? One owner-operator said, Convoy burned us once and DAT cozying up to them feels like a sequel to a bad movie. So another person wrote, Convoy owed me $15K and ghosted. DAT better not expect me to trust their new and improved app. And finally, DAT's got cash, but carriers got scars. Convoy's name is toxic. Good luck selling this. The consensus? Well, it's simple. DAT might have the tech, but Convoy has the baggage, right? From the unpaid bills, broken promises, a sense of abandonment, and carriers, they are just bracing for disappointment. Losing trust in such a big way has definitely left its mark, even on a person like me who hasn't used Convoy, I believe, since 2021. So I was not even directly affected when Convoy shut down abruptly. And I remember after Flexport acquired Convoy, I would get countless emails about sign up for the Convoy platform. It's new and improved. And I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. So what's the takeaway? The takeaway is twofold, right? On one hand, there might be more loads available to carriers, which is fantastic. Plus, if DAT is actually able to vet brokers who are posting those loads, not just a little bit of vetting here and a lot of vetting for carriers. No, vet those brokers the way brokers vet carriers. If they do that, then yeah, it creates a safer space, which technically, theoretically, should prevent the same situation that happened with Convoy before, right? But vetting is important of brokers. It's not just carriers, right? We have to vet everybody. But on the other hand, there is that fear that an online bidding system, those AI negotiations, will just keep driving rates further down. So I'm curious about what your take is on this DAT Convoy deal. Are you still burned by Convoy directly or indirectly? Or do you think that DAT has a chance of turning this around and building the trust back again? Curious to hear what you guys have to say. Anyway, thank you so much for joining and watching. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning. See you in the next video.